you know, of, I have this kind of mantra that I do sometimes when everything is just like hard in your life and stuff, and I always come back and it just goes, be still and know I am. Because it's so, there's something about letting go of all this human stuff and just knowing that you are so much more, that there's this God energy in all of us that we are. So that always reminds me of that. Thank you for saying that. So today we're talking about authenticity. I like this little thing. It says, did you read it? Mess yourself up a little. The key to this business is authenticity. And they're begging a little bit. See, this authenticity thing is kind of a buzzword right now. I don't know if you think that, but it's like, you know, you read about it. It's what's authentic. And so I did a lot of different research, and there's all these different kind of, you know, stories on what authenticity really is. And so I have to ask you, is there such thing, now think about this, is there such thing as too much honesty? You think that that's true? Is that possible? Is there, can you be too honest? Because I thought about what that means. Now, so kind of go with me on this, you know, can we tell too much truth? Too much. See, there's this movement, and there's a psychiatrist, he's a psychotherapist, and he talks about telling the truth, and he talks about this radical honesty. And his whole process is that whatever comes to you, whatever you're feeling, say it, you know, and say it, doesn't matter what it is, you need to say it out. And then it opens to all of this communication. So I kind of thought about that, and I thought, you know, I don't think so. You know, I'm not sure I can really buy that, you know, and maybe I need to read a little bit more about what he had to say, but there's, you know, to me, it could cause a lot of hurt feelings. I think there's a different way to be in the world, you know, other than brutal honesty. Right? So I want to talk about that a little bit, you know, and how does brutal honesty differ from authenticity, you know, being, you know, truly authentic. There's this quote from Angela's area, and we've worked with her, we're working with her on a gratitude class, and there's a quote that says, my grandmother never told me never to hide your green hair. They can see it anyway. See? And the truth is, all of us have green hair. Somewhere, right? What is your green hair? What do you hide? You know, what is it that you're hiding that you don't want everybody to see? And that's another question is, do we want everybody to see everything about us, anywhere, anybody? You know, so it's something that we kind of need to think about. You know, do we want to come clean with every feeling, you know, everything that we have within us? Or do we hold some back? So how do we do life? You know, it's a lot to kind of think about. If we think we're this authentic person, are we ready to reveal everything that we're really, really thinking? You know, there's so much on this topic, and everybody's got a different opinion on it. So all I'm going to do is give you a collection of what I believe, you know, how it hits my heart. I think first that I just want to say what authenticity for me is about genuineness. It's about that I am, maybe aligning with that quality. And when you are there, everything's perfect. Everything is. When you are in that I am, that spot of God, that you're heart-centered. And when you're in your heart, what you can say isn't hurtful. Never. When you're in your heart. And that's when you're genuine. See, we run the spectrum, all of us. We run this whole spectrum of phony to honest to authentic. So I want to talk about those three things. And I like what Brene Brown says, that we're cultivating it. See, there isn't just a phony person, you know, and an honest person and an authentic person. They're choices that we make day by day, right? And probably moment by moment. I can be phony one moment and really authentic the next moment. And our job then is to really cultivate the idea of authenticity and coming from our heart space of who we really are, you know. When we talk about phony, and all of us, I want to say all of us have phony moments, right? And I'm talking about not out and out lies. I'm talking about massaging the truth a little bit, you know, or spinning things a certain way. Maybe about doing something because we think somebody is going to like us for it. You know, that's an important one. You know, it's like maybe gossiping about somebody. Somebody walks in and goes, "Hi, how are you? You know, welcome." And inside you've just, you know, talked about them with somebody else, you know. So that's a phony moment, right? That's a phony moment that we've had, and a lot of us have had it. So we have to look at our life and see, and I think it's important, I guess my point being that when those kind of moments happen, it's time to step back and bring awareness to it, bring awareness to what's going on. Or pretending a life that's really not you. And I thought about in my life, and I've had some phony moments, you know, hopefully they're becoming less and less, but I think we all do. But I think that we have to look at our lives and see if our lives are phony, right? And I have had moments in my life, and I had a life, I think, that was phony. When I look back, I think of a time I wasn't in alignment with what my heart was. And, you know, I'm glad now for what I went through, but it was a time when I felt like I was deeper than my life was. I don't know if that makes sense to you. It's like I felt shallow. I felt like there was so much more that my life was about than going to cocktail parties and, you know, wearing pretty dresses. You know, what I wanted to do was, I'm a philosopher, you know, and I wanted to have friends that wanted to talk, you know, deeply and talk about what God was, you know, and the people that I hung with, and, you know, every time I tried to bring it up, it was like, yeah, right, you know, that's I mean, you know, I wasn't real popular at cocktail parties, probably, you know, but see, and then you have to make a decision. Is that what you want to do with your life? Now, if I lost that life, and I think that sometimes the universe, like, does that so that you can create the life that you really need to have, or that you really want, you know, and that's what happened. I feel like my life is more authentic because I'm more in line with what's here, with my heart. Doesn't mean I can't live that life. If that happened again and I lived that life, I could still live it and still come from my heart. I didn't know that then. I thought I had to search and go find another life, and I did. And thank God I did. I'm glad I did. But I'm not saying wherever you are in your life you have to change it. I'm just saying you have to get in alignment with what's here. You have to be able to live what is in your heart, to be able to align with it. See? And to tell you the truth, phoniness, being phony, isn't sustainable. And it's not healthy for us. And it's not who we are. It's not who we are at all. And so we have to listen inside. We have to listen inside and see if we're coming from our heart space and who we are. So is honesty now better than phony? Maybe. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, you know. But it's brutal honesty. And I had to think about that, you know. I know some people that it's like, look, I'm just an honest person. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean, you know. And I think that can be a little tricky. You know, I think it can be a little tricky because I think sometimes we cause a little bit of problems when we come and say whatever we feel like saying, whatever we feel like saying to anybody. I know there's times in my life when I thought I was being, you know, truthful and honest, and I've hurt somebody's feelings. And that's never the intention. Let me tell you, when you are an authentic person and you are coming from your heart space, you're not mean. You're not mean at all. See, oftentimes we say, just be honest. Or have you ever, this is funny, because have you ever had someone say, look, I just want to sit down and be honest. What does that tell you right there? If somebody says, I go to you, Lily, and you know, come here, I want to be honest with you. What's your first thing? It's like, oh God, what you going to say, you know? It's not hurt. And the truth is, it doesn't have to, because see, a lot of times we justify our righteousness with honesty, which is like a smokescreen. And it makes other people, you know, wrong. So we think that's what authentic is, you know, because honesty is difficult. What we do is we vacillate then between being brutally honest and being a phony. And there's something better. There's something way beyond that, and that's what I want to talk about. Our true freedom lies in being authentic. Being authentic is what I'm talking about today. It's not about being brutally honest with somebody, and it's not about being phony, but it's about cultivating this capacity to be truly authentic in our lives. Because authentic means a real you. It's who you really are. And when you are authentic, you know it, and you feel it, and you walk with it, and you move with it. And your actions are in alignment with your heart. In alignment with your heart. Nothing comes out as an attack. And here's what I love this definition. Authenticity is honesty minus the righteousness plus vulnerability. See? Now, Brene Brown's work talks about being vulnerable. That's hard, you guys. Wow, just to be open and vulnerable. You know, when you're honest, it's hard, right? And when you come from your heart, sometimes you don't know what's going to happen. But it's a quality from the heart. It's not an opinion. See, it's not an opinion. Opinions don't matter. Opinions don't matter. What matters is the heart space. So vulnerability is an aspect of authenticity that is so liberating once you do it. It's challenging though, because it's so scary to be vulnerable and to be out there for the world to see. You know, when we've been taught, you know, not to be vulnerable too, because we can get hurt. And if we have allowed ourselves to be vulnerable in the past, wow, we've been hurt, and so we don't want to do it again. We have all these feelings, Think in your life at the times when you've been vulnerable. If you've said, I love you to somebody, and you don't know if you're going to get that back again. You're open. You don't know what's going to happen, but it's essential for authenticity. Did you guys see The Butler at all? There was it's such a good show, and the butler, he goes in to ask for a raise, and he's so, he's been working at the White House, he's a White House butler for 30 or 40 years or something, and he goes into his boss, who's white, and all the white people were getting raises, and he wanted raises, I think, for him and his staff and things, and he goes in, and that's probably the most vulnerable moment that I could think of right now. He just stands before him asking for a raise. Of course, the guy goes no, slams him down, tells him, no way. If you don't like what you're doing, leave. And that's what happens sometimes for us about vulnerability. We open ourselves up to this being rejected, and so it hurts. It hurts. But it's our ability to embrace that which allows us to experience true authenticity and freedom. And that freedom gives us the power to live our lives. Vulnerability liberates us from the obsession with perfection, thinking that we have to be perfect, that we can't make mistakes, knowing that everybody's human, everybody has flaws. It's being who you are without faking it and not worrying. Being who you are. If somebody doesn't like something, you have to be true to yourself. We're not there to please other people. And you can do it in a way, a heart space. We have to be vulnerable enough to show our green hair. What's your green hair? Think about that. What is your green hair, if you choose to? Being vulnerable allows us to let go, man, of what other people think. And that's so huge. That is so huge. We do so many things to please other people. We do so many things to please other people. Think about that, And what authenticity does is it gives us this freedom to be who we are. To let go of everything that's out there and concentrate on what's right here. I remember, I think the first time I ever felt, I lived my life pleasing my mom. Isn't that funny? I just wanted her to be happy and please her for many, many years. I think when I was a young adult in my 20s, I can remember at one point, I finally, looked at her and go, Mom, I just can't do this. You know what? I'm sorry, I love you, but it's over. I didn't do what I need to do. And she just stopped and she goes, you finally grew up. At that moment, she actually said that. It was so weird that she got it. And that's what I'm saying is that sometimes we just need to say it. We need to be authentic with our own lives so that we can, and it liberates other people when we're authentic. It liberates other people to be the real you. Are you living your real life? See, being authentic allows you to be honest, but being honest with yourself first, right? You have to be honest with yourself first. Sometimes we think it's about pleasing everybody else and being honest out there. I've got to be honest with you. But it's about me. It's about me. When you dig deeper, you find out who you really are. It means figuring out what's really going on. If we have so many people that come to say, there's all this stuff going on in my life. Do I come and do I tell the other person that this person's annoying me? Do I need to sit down and tell the person? Judy and I talk about this a lot. And here's what I think the truth is, how you deal with something like that. If somebody is annoying to you, right? So, we might think it's our duty to sit down and say, look, this is, your voice is really loud. It gets on my nerves. Not you. Okay. I'm not saying that, but I'm just using you, okay? So say that I was going to say, wow, it's like every time. But the truth is, if you're authentic, see, that might be brutal honesty, right? Might be brutal honesty if you want to say something. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about knowing if you feel that way. If this person's loud, man, everybody's loud in my life. It's about going within and finding out why you feel that way. It's about you, see? Internal honesty, authenticity is about you. It's not about the other person. It's about discovering what's going on down here. That's true authenticity, It means having the courage to do that and knowing that it never had anything to do with anybody else but you. You, your world. You create your world, your feelings. Your feelings are a direct result of the beliefs that you hold about yourself if you're willing to go deeper. True authenticity means that you dig deep to find out what's here. So it's not like, does this happen to you? Do you do things you don't want to do sometimes? Do you do things? Do you go out to lunch with people that you don't want to go out with sometimes because you have to and you feel, I got a neighbor, that keeps asking me, and sometimes I go and I don't really want to. That's not authentic. Now, I don't go out and say, look, I'd rather jump off a cliff than go out to lunch with you, but that's brutal, honestly. But you say no, no, I don't. You don't. And you come from your heart. I want everybody to hear that because that's important. We live a double life sometimes, and it hurts us inside. When we're authentic, we come from our heart space, and we can never hurt anybody. We can never hurt anybody. See, this whole month we're talking about wholehearted living. And that's what that means, coming from your heart in this authentic place that is so vulnerable. So today, I think my prayer for us is that you live deeply, you live passionately, and you live from your authentic truth. Thank you.